Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Raidraptor deck profile. I'm really excited for this one because this is actually one of my favorite decks of all time. It's an awesome deck that basically makes Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon, which is actually splashed into a lot of different decks with Waking the Dragons because it's one of the best cards in the entire extra deck that is unaffected by all the card effects, and it's just an awesome 3500 beat stick that just OTKs out of nowhere, and just an awesome card. So, without further ado, guys, let's get straight on this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on the screen, become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. So, first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Raidraptor Tribute Lanius. So, Raidraptor Tribute Lanius' effect is during your main phase, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can instantly send a Raidraptor monster from your deck to the graveyard, a Raidraptor card from your deck to the graveyard, and then during your main phase 2, if this card destroyed an opponent's monster battle, you can add a Rank Up Magic Quick Play spell card from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for its turn except Raidraptor monsters, which is not that big of a deal because we're not going to rank up into anything else except for Raidraptors. 3 copies of the best Raidraptor in the entire deck, or one of the best Raidraptors, and that is 3 copies of Vanishing Lanius. Vanishing Lanius is one of the best combo starters of the deck because it lets us get 2 Raidraptors on the field, or up to 3 if you have multiple Tribute or Vanishing Laniuses on the field. Once per turn, during your main phase, if it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Raidraptor monster from your hand, so it just instantly puts extra bodies on the board so you can actually go for other plays. Then we play 3 copies of Raidraptor Mimicry Lanius. Mimicry Lanius is basically the only effect that matters of this card, is if it's sent to the graveyard, and it was sent there this turn, you can banish it to add a Raidraptor monster from your deck to your hand, or Raidraptor card from your deck to your hand. That's a really interesting thing about Raidraptors is the majority of the stuff that they play actually is not Raidraptor. It doesn't say Raidraptor monster, it says Raidraptor card. Like, for instance, this lets you send Raidraptor cards, this lets you add Raidraptor cards. Then we play 3 copies of Raidraptor Fuzzy Lanius, which, if you control another Raidraptor monster, you can instantly special summon this card from your hand. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Raidraptor Fuzzy Lanius from your deck to your hand, but you can only special summon it once per turn, which is a really good effect to be able to just instantly put other Raidraptors on the field. Then we play 1 copy of Booster Strix. I feel like 1 copy of Booster Strix is plenty in this deck. When a Raidraptor monster you control is targeted for attack, you can banish this card from your hand and destroy the attacking monster. It's basically a searchable instant destruction of a card that's going to destroy a monster you control, which sometimes the only way that your opponent's actually going to get over the Ultimate Falcon is to beat over it, and so you use the Booster Strix to stop that. I play a single copy of Singing Lanius. If you control a XYZ monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is really good. It's really good to be able to just instantly get another body on board so you can go into other plays. We play 3 copies of Pain Lanius. Pain Lanius is really good in the deck because you basically get to target a Raidraptor monster you control, and whichever one's lower, you pay life points equal to either the attack or the defense. Like, for instance, if you were to choose something like Booster Strix, it has 100 attack and 1700 defense, you pay 100, special summon the Pain Lanius, and it would become the same level as the Booster Strix to be able to go into other plays. This is one of the most versatile cards that Raidraptors actually have in the main deck. Then we play 3 copies of Last Strix. Last Strix is my favorite of all the Raidraptor cards, that if a Raidraptor monster you control battles while you have any spell and trap cards on the field or in the graveyard, during damage calculation you can special summon this card from your hand and gain 100 attack for each spell and trap card you control and in your grave. And then you can tribute this card and your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of the turn. And you can special summon a Raidraptor XYZ monster from your extra deck in defense position, which works really well with our little copy of Skip Force. So basically what you do is you summon the Last Strix, and then after you summon the Last Strix, you tribute it, summon Satellite Cannon Falcon or Ultimate Falcon, and then use Skip Force to instantly go up into your copy of your Ultimate Falcon or your Final Fortress Falcon. It depends on what you really want to go for. Then we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round out the monsters, just so we can hand trap our opponent if needed. So that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is extremely important in the deck to stop our opponent from hand trapping us, and it's just really good to be able to stop our opponent from doing all sorts of shenanigans against us. We play 3 copies of Super Polymerization to break our opponent's board. This card is so good, and everything in the deck is dark. Like, I want to main deck this in just about every single dark deck that I play now, because this card is so good to summon Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, because it's really easy to have a dark monster on our side of the field and our opponent to not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, because we have Mud Dragon and we have the new Predaplant one that takes 3, and you have like, those are my targets. It's the Predaplant that takes 3, the Mud Dragon, and the Starving Man and Fusion Dragon for this, and it's really, really good to be able to do that. For the rank ups, we're going to be playing a Doom Double Force. If a Raidraptor monster you control is in the graveyard that was destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard this turn, you can target it, special summon it, double its rank, and then special summon a monster using it as materials. So for instance, if I use Forstrix as a material, I special summon back Forstrix and go into Final Fortress Falcon into a copy of Satellite Cannon Falcon. Or if my Revolution Falcon gets destroyed by battle, I go into Final Fortress Falcon. So this card's a really good card to be able to go to use. I play 2 copies of Soul Shade Force. You pay half your life points and target a Raidraptor monster in your graveyard that's an XYZ monster. Special summon it, and then special summon a monster that's 2 ranks higher than the monster that you had in the graveyard, which is pretty good. I really like that ability. It's really good to be able to just do that and just be able to put something on board that's extremely powerful and extremely, really pivotal to the deck. It's a really good card. I probably wouldn't play it at any more than 2 because I don't want to pay half my life points, but it's always live. And it can even summon stuff like, it has the ability, like, word for word. A lot of people miss this, but pay half your life points and target a Raidraptor XYZ monster in your grave. Special summon it, then special summon from your extra deck 1 XYZ monster that's 2 ranks higher than that monster using as materials. Wink, wink. You can actually go for Cyber Dragon Infinity by using the Forstrix as material, which is really important for the deck to be able to go into. 3 copies of Skip Force. Skip Force is really good in the deck too, because basically it lets you target a Raidraptor monster you control and go 2 ranks higher than the current rank of the Raidraptor monster, which is really, really good for the deck. You really need that extra ability to just put, extra damage on board, or extra monsters on board. And basically it says you get to target a XYZ monster, Raidraptor XYZ monster, special summon from your extra deck, a Raidraptor monster is 2 ranks higher. And it also has the ability that if it, during your main phase, except the turn that it was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this target and then target a Raidraptor monster in your graveyard and add a Raidraptor monster in your graveyard and special summon it back. So you just special summon any Raidraptor XYZ monster back from the graveyard to go with another Skip Force and go into another XYZ play. 1 copy of Raidraptor Nest. Raidraptor Nest is an interesting card that if you control 2 or more Raidraptor monsters, you can add a Raidraptor monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And then finally, for the last 3 cards of the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. The Allures of Darkness really help out in the deck to be able to draw whatever you need when you need it. To be able to dig deeper into the deck, because you really want to get into Skip Force. So that's it for the spells, guys. I do actually play a single trap in the deck, and that is a single copy of Raidraptor Readiness. So Raidraptor Readiness makes it so your Raidraptor monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle, and if you have a Raidraptor monster in your graveyard, you take no battle damage from battles this turn either, which can be really, really pivotal to the deck, because sometimes you just really don't want to take damage in this deck, which can be really important to not actually take that extra damage. It's really a good card to play in the actual extra deck. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So we're going to be playing 2 copies, or a single copy of the Raidraptor Final Fortress Falcon. You're only ever going to go into it once in the entire deck. If you have a Raidraptor XYZ monster's materials, it's unaffected by other cards' effects, and then once per turn you can detach from reserve on this card, return all banished Raidraptor monsters to your graveyard, and up to twice per turn, when this attacking card destroys a monster from battle, you can banish your Raidraptor XYZ monster in your graveyard. You can attack again in a row. This is why I don't like this one better than Ultimate Falcon. I feel like Ultimate Falcon has such better effects than the actual copy of the Raidraptor Final Fortress Falcon. I just think it's an overall better card. So we're going to be playing 2 copies of Ultimate Falcon, which is the one I usually go into the majority of the time. It has the ability that it's unaffected by other card effects. You can detach material from this card, and for the rest of the turn, all their monsters your opponent control lose 1,000 attack. So it even beats it out in attack points. So it goes up to it makes a difference where it goes up to 45. And then cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this. And then if this card has a Raidraptor monster as XYZ materials, once returned during the end phase, you can make all monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack. Or if your opponent controls no monsters, they take 1,000 points of damage. So then we play 2 copies of Satellite Cannon Falcon. I just use this usually to rank up into my Ultimate Falcon. That's usually the only time I ever summon this, or with Doom Double. And if it's XYZ summon using an XYZ Raidraptor monster, you can destroy all spells and trap cards your opponent controls, and then it cannot activate cards or in effects in response to this card's activation. And then during either player's turn, you can detach material from this card to target a monster your opponent controls, and it loses 800 attack for each Raidraptor monster in your grave, which can basically put a monster at 0, because by the time you get to this card, it's going to be you're going to have a bunch of Raidraptors in the graveyard. 1 copy of Revolution Falcon. Revolution Falcon it's good, but it's not the greatest thing in the entire world, so I play it as a 1-of in the deck. You only ever summon this really when you rank up a Force Strix into it with Skip Force, but that's kind of rare. But basically what you do is you detach a material from this card, and then this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls. Then start a damage step. If it battles an opponent's monster that's special summoned, that monster's attack and defense becomes 0. And if this card has a Raidraptor monster's material, gains the following effects. Once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half that monster's original attack that it had on the field. 2 copies of Force Strix. You detach material from this card and then add a Wing Beast monster, Dark Wing Beast, from your deck to your hand, which also works in Blackwing. It's really cool. It gains 500 attack for each Wing Beast type monster you control other than this card, which is really good to be able to just get this big wall on the field to be able to stop your opponent. Then, for the rest of the extra deck, we're going to be playing a Cyber Dragon Infinity to be able to go into with Soul Shave Force with the Force Strix. 1 copy of Ice Beast Xerophine. Xerophine is really good, and I actually dropped the Blade Burner Falcon for the Xerophine. Basically what this does is you detach a material from this card, and then after you do, all face-up cards on the field's effects are negated, and then it gains 300 attack for each face-up card that was on the field when it was activated. 2 copies of Wee Witch Apprentice. Just play it for the Link Arrows. And plus, everything's dark except for the Cyber Dragon Infinity and the Ice Beast. So it makes everything go up by 500 except the Ultimate Falcon and the Final Fortress Falcon, which are unaffected by all card effects. For the Super Volley targets, we're going to be playing Predaplant that takes 3 Dark Monsters, a Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and a Mud Dragon, which is the only other non-dark monster we have in the deck. It's a water monster. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. It's actually not really expensive. Like, I would have to say Raidraptors is on the lower end of being budget for anybody who wants to play it, and it helps teach people about ranking up in XYZ plays and stuff like that. So it's a really fun deck. The most expensive card in the deck, I don't remember how much it's going for, is the Tribute Lanius. I know Tribute Lanius was a little expensive back in the day. I don't know how much this is now, but you could probably get away with 2 copies of it, but it's still really needed. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.